What's going on, guys? Black Scout Survival, and today we're going to be talking about some new developments in the Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk assassination, or the accused. And I have my friend Pia from Laissez-Faire Lounge on Instagram. She does a lot of investigative work as well, and get her insight on this also. Thank you for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me. It's really great.
Sure. So today it broke that Tyler Robinson, and you can kind of discuss his timeline, and I'll put this up while we're talking. But essentially, Tyler Robinson is pulling in here, and then there's a white car parked that you can see right up front. And you can kind of talk us through this about the time.
So basically, the woman that runs this, I believe the FBI has seen this footage, but I don't know what they did with it. But she anyway had it, and she looked at it, and the timestamp. Basically, he comes in here, and the timestamp is 12:44. Charlie Kirk was shot at 12:23.
Yes.
So roughly about 20 minutes after that, he pulls in here, sits in the car park for a bit, and then drives out of the car park and towards UVU.
Yeah, with this white car that had been parked following him rather closely. And apparently he sat in the parking lot for 2 minutes here. But you see the white car following him. But this white car was parked up front, closer to the camera as we can see, and we can play this again. So 20 minutes, and it's a 10-minute ride is what they're saying from the campus. So he would have had to got to his car fairly quickly. And I'll place a map up, and we can kind of see from where he went and where he supposedly parked at. Because they're saying he parked in a neighborhood initially, okay? But the problem is that we put this up here, and if you...
Yeah, because I tried to find out where he parked. I asked AI also, and they said, oh, he parked near his house. And I was like, I don't think his house was anywhere near there. Isn't his house like 2 hours away? I don't know.
Yeah, it's 2.5 hours away, I believe.
2.5 hours away. So it would have been like a neighborhood somewhere. And they said that he had the car on at the time, like he left the car
running.
On. Running, yeah. But where would they have gotten that information from? How would they have known that he left the car running?
Exactly. I think the number one is where he went through the neighborhood that the cameras caught him. And I can play that in a moment as well. And he makes it over to the campus. And at some point he parks at the parking garage because an officer confronts him at the parking garage, as you can see in number 4 there.
Yeah.
And the officer apparently did not have his body cam footage on, but said that he was acting suspicious and talked to him. We don't know. We don't know if that's true or not because, there's no information. And that kind of goes along with, before I go forward there, well, I guess I can talk about it here. They're saying prosecution has a weak spot because that the messages, the trans boyfriend messages, they don't have timestamps.
Right.
And we had already.
And hasn't the boyfriend disappeared as well? I thought his whole house was swept and everything.
Sweet.
I mean, this is the problem. So somebody said today on X, they were like, or on TikTok or something, they're like, the problem is, Candace Owens and all these people are, they're making a mess of of the situation, and it's going to be a mistrial because, they're tainting the jury pool, basically, right? And but the problem is, like, we wouldn't do that if we were getting straight answers that made sense, and we're not getting any straight answers. The gun that they showed initially, the picture, I think it was New York Post. New York Post published this. FBI never published a gun before that, right? Because AI told me that they had, but I cannot find anything. I was like, okay, show me the gun. And they couldn't find it. Like, oh, the FBI must have put it up for a second and then taken it down. But I was like, okay, well.
This came out apparently that this is not even the rifle. And this
goes
along with, because this has a composite stock on it, which a firearm that old, which you could buy a composite stock, but This looks like a newer model gun. The bolt on it looks different. I mean, it looks like a newer model gun. So this apparently is what they're saying. They pulled this like off Getty Images or something. So this is not even the rifle that is in question now.
Yeah.
Which that could be a lie too. We
Because that was like a 5-year-old picture, I think. So
Mhm.
then now they're saying, oh, we pulled it as a stock image to show you what the rifle was like. But
Exactly.
like, that's not even the rifle. You're saying it's a masser, and I don't
And
know.
it's
Like, they're
labeled
just making
apparently a
it's like that.
Remington.
Sorry, a
So
This is a Remington, I believe.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and then there's a lot of other stuff. Like there's enough camera footage now, somebody was telling me, and enough for them to do like a ballistic sound. They could check the ballistic sound. I don't really know much about
forensics
that
or
kind of stuff.
acoustic forensics.
Acoustic forensics, yeah, and they can see exactly where the shooter would have been. So I don't know if they've done that or not.
Well, there's a guy that's a sound guy for like he's like in his studio and he does this for a living, and he did it and how where he came out with the sound is the initial spot that a lot of us thought about, which was this position here to the right. If you're sitting in Charlie's chair to the right, and if you're facing Charlie's to the left, and a lot of people in the crowd, a lot of the witnesses said they heard to the left. And like my buddy Jimmy Watson said, if you when you talk to someone immediately after the event, they're going to be the best description of what happened. And
Right.
being in that situation, you hear to the left in that moment, right after they're going to say that. What they can recall at that moment. Now it starts getting muddied the days as it goes through. So an acoustic expert said that it's coming from this direction here,
Yeah.
which there's been a lot of theories, and personally, as soon as I heard the shot, it did not sound like a 30-06 because that is a very loud round. It sounds something like something muffled, not suppressed like with a silencer, as civilians call it, but somewhat muffled. And we could go into a lot of theories on that. There's also the mic explosion theory, but
And there's a
the
weak, somebody said, oh, well, if it could have been a weak reload, right? But then that is going to be messier, isn't it?
it
Like
would
if it
slow the
hits, because
round down.
somebody showed me pictures of of deers and stuff with it, and he shoots with a masser, and it's like pretty freaking gruesome.
Yeah,
Um, and so even if, and that whole narrative about the bullet magically, if it wasn't for Charlie's magical neck
yeah,
muscles, he
man,
wouldn't have gone through.
killed it.
And you're just like, that's weird. And plus, why are you? Is the doctor allowed to say that? Like, are you allowed to say that on behalf of them? Like,
Well, there's a
the
double PhD out there saying it's virtually impossible to not have an exit wound from the caliber they're stating. And it would appear, I did videos before where you see an object here coming here and then through his legs. And just before I go any further, a lot of this is speculation because we're getting told a bunch of things that are inconsistent,
Mhm.
possibly untrue, and so we're
Yeah.
having to come up with these theories. But I do
It's
believe,
almost like they're trying to confuse us so much to the point where we get fatigued and we don't want to think about it anymore, and then it just goes away, just like JFK and Hinckley and 9/11, everything else, like they just want to. I mean, I've done a lot of work because this has gone on, and I was like, if they find out that the shooter isn't, that he's not working by himself, right, which it seems
yeah,
clearly that he wasn't working by himself, then we have to figure out who it was, right? So I've kind of gone down that rabbit hole and found a lot of stuff on my Substack. You can check it out. I've got another thing today with receipts in terms of some of the this one big Utah family that pays a lot of money into Ukraine. I'm sorry, that funnels a lot. We're talking about missing U.S. aid donations. We're talking about IRS accounting that is missing,
this is
and
connected to George Zinn, I believe you told me, right?
yeah, so George Zinn, there's a weird picture from 2015 of George Zinn like saluting the governor of Utah at the time. He was by the car, and Mike Leviette was the governor, and then she became, I think that's his name. She ended up becoming she was his deputy governor and then became the governor. but George Zinn is like really, really connected to that Utah scene. And
George Zinn
um,
was the guy at the first suspect they arrested because he yelled out that he had
he had
he
done,
had,
yeah, he had
he had
done it. And then he
said
got
that.
arrested for having child, which is,
Wait,
which is
is
a
that
really common thing I'm
that
finding
happens?
throughout this entire
That
story.
happened to Stephen Paddock's brother, Las Vegas shooter.
Hmm.
If you recall, his brother came out and said, "All these are lies," and all these sort. In the following week, he got arrested for CP. So that is a common thing that happens with people, and I've heard Tucker Carlson talk about this, that they can actually plant this stuff on your devices, and obviously, the time frame of when this happened is suspect. The other thing is, I'm going to play this footage of George Zinn as we're talking, but George Zinn is seen here. He's highlighted here. He's coming down the steps. Everybody's running, but he's coming down the steps. He's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
unbothered by the situation. Now his pants falls down for some reason, and he almost falls down like just by themselves. They just fall down. And this is some young men helped him pull his pants back up, but very strange, right? Very strange behavior.
Strange.
If someone got shot, you
You don't
are,
run towards,
yeah,
and you don't pull your pants down.
yes. So I
So
think
odd.
what we can speculate from this.
I wish I'd given you the picture that I'm talking about, but I will have it again on my Substack as soon as I think the article will come out tonight or tomorrow night. Or
and
sorry,
and
tonight or tomorrow morning. But
And if you go check her out on Instagram, Laissez-Faire Lounge, and she has all this type of stuff and interviews with other people and connected to this sort of thing. We're talking,
yeah, because there's a bigger. I mean, this is a hive. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
a,
we're talking
it's
MK
like a,
Ultra
yeah,
type stuff.
yeah. It's
We're talking
they call it.
to the
I've been calling
agency.
it the hornet's nest. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The agency's NSA is in Utah.
Mm.
Um, you know all the all universities, University of Utah, Utah Valley, Utah State are all connected. CIA ties, which are all white now. Like if you go and try to type in Rusty Needs, the CIA professor
This
that I
actually
was
just
just
happened this
talking
week,
about.
correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
it got wiped this week.
This
So
week it's disappeared, and I can't find anything about him online or anything. I've got the screenshots. So like, I mean, I didn't take a screenshot of his bio stupidly. But I got his bio, like I have it, all downloaded and everything. And I've got his photo from the website that is now taken down. That photo is not available anywhere online. And also the guy at Utah State University, Mike Barrett, who um, runs the Center for Anticipatory Intelligence. Remember, like Tyler went there for a semester. He has four sons, and they all work for a company called Ceridynex, which is like, or in some ways, they're all related to either Ceridynex or Coltrex, I believe it's called. Um, these companies are like, one does all university libraries, one does university systems, but they are Ceridynex is like 10 minutes away from Utah Valley University, and like all of the like even his wife, who they live in Australia, but his wife works for them remotely.
mhm.
And Coltrex, like the one of the sons works for the guy that did Charlie Kirk's memorial, donated $25 million to Utah Valley, and he owns that company. So like there's a lot of like links, and then you have the president of Utah Valley University. She is on the board of the Zions Bank, which is deeply connected to Mike Levitt, who funnels money into Ukraine. So I almost think this Charlie Kirk thing has unleashed so much information in terms of what has happened over the last, like, I want to say few decades, really.
Well, it's funny that you're saying this because Candace Owens, and people can think whatever they want about her. About an hour ago, she said that as the deeper she gets, she said this has governmental ties, and that is almost like JFK. We don't know, but she's gotten a lot of information thus far. But I want to back up for a second just so people
Yeah.
can understand. The UVU is where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. USU is up north. It's where Tyler Robinson went to
Yeah.
for one
For one
semester.
semester.
This kid, now what you have to understand, this kid is a brilliant kid, 4.0 GPA,
Yeah. Top of his class, like,
$32,000 scholarship, and
pre-engineering.
pre-engineering. Okay, and this school has something that's an agency funnel, and when I say agency, I mean CIA funnel A lot of kids are recruited from there. He only went for 1 semester. Odd. What has he been doing since? No one really knows, which is also strange. Now, if we look back at, again, his case, they're saying that the text messages don't have timestamps, and the text messages don't even sound like someone of his age. And really, why would you totally detail out, if he's seemingly a genius, detail out totally in digital format that's obviously going to be searched by FBI or police? Why would you put the whole timeline out? Because obviously he fled to get away. Okay.
Yeah. Wait, and
Very
didn't in the text
strange.
message he say something about oh, they caught that old man instead? Like, how would he have known that?
How did he know that if he was already running?
Yeah,
Because we
did he just
know that
stop to look at the TV or something like that? Or I guess he would look at his phone. I don't know.
I don't know, because he did. He went running,
Yeah.
and if you pull this back up, not that one, this one, where the location, okay, the gun location is not too far from where they found the so-called firearm. It's not too far from the assassination. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He apparently walked through this neighborhood, as we've seen, witnessed to quite a bit here. Now, we don't know when this exactly was, if this was morning, after, what have you, right? Or do we know?
We don't know. So TMZ said it was like 8 a.m., but somebody did some shadow analysis. Although someone later said to me they do a lot of photography and that would be at what it's like at 8 a.m. But so I don't know.
This
I'm just
is
going by Reddit. Reddit's got there's a post there and he did a shadow analysis and said that this was at
the
that this
shadow
wasn't
analysis is
8:07.
actually 11:50 that he
11,
was
11,
walking.
11:07. Sorry. Yeah.
It says
Oh,
11:49.
11:50.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 11:49.
So
Right.
that would have gave him 33 minutes to make it to the campus, assemble the rifle undetected, get a shooting position, and wait for the right time to do the shot.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of time,
Oh
nor
wait,
is it
no,
a lot of
sorry.
time. Go ahead.
This is sorry. This is 11:49. This is real footage at 11:49. This
Okay.
photograph. This
Okay.
one
So,
8:07. They're saying it was actually at 11:07.
oh, I got you. Yeah, because the shadow is not that different. So I don't
No,
believe that's
no, it's sort of
8 o'clock
similar.
shadow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't believe that's 8 o'clock shadow. So this is supposedly then 11:07, which would have been 40 minutes. So he would have changed clothes, and I feel like it's a similar gait here. So I do believe it's him, but 30
Why
minutes
would
to
they
go.
have two pictures of? So this is what I don't understand. So if it's 11:07 and that's 11:50, like what's he doing exactly?
Exactly. No one knows.
Are they the
No
same
one knows.
person?
That's what I mean. It's a seemingly same gate, but I do want to touch on this, and we discussed this earlier. Is if you look at the man in the stairwell,
Hmm.
he's wearing a hat and glasses, and really that could be anybody with a clean shaven face. You look at these shoulders here; these are very broad shoulders. Okay,
Hmm.
unless he's wearing pads underneath, which I don't believe.
Is
But
this
look at
where he's supposed to? Is he supposed to have a gun in his
this is
pants?
yeah, this is him taking the gun out, supposed in his pants. But you can see the impression of his cell phone, which I would think you would see a
A Moser rifle.
yeah.
He
You
wouldn't
would
be bending his legs like that. I don't know.
no,
So sorry, yeah. So his
yeah,
sorry, you were talking about his shoulders, right?
yeah, but it's true that you see a cell phone, you don't see a rifle in this guy. There's no rifle in this guy, but apparently
Right.
it's in his backpack per the FBI. He broke it down, a 4-foot rifle, and put it in his backpack. And let's just say we go with that.
Yeah.
The shoulders here, I mean, these are a lot
Now,
wider shoulders than this guy here.
do
Yeah,
boys get bigger shoulders over from 20 whatever he would have aged when he would have
I
been
wouldn't think so.
18 to
I
22?
wouldn't think so. And he doesn't have bigger
Because they
shoulders.
all look like different guys, right? They don't
They
look
do.
like
I mean, even here and
maybe
the guy
they
here, the hair is a lot longer. Like, I mean,
are they
uh,
trying to get a mistrial, do you think? I mean, is that why they're
uh,
putting out all this?
From what I read in this article here, uh, they're saying that there's so much inconsistencies that the prosecution is in a weak place.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That means that they don't have much going for them. There was something else they said about the. I think they said about the rifle did not have DNA on.
Wait. So the prosecution is in a weak spot because of the inconsistencies, not. Oh, right. So because of so many inconsistencies, it's hard to prove that Tyler was the one, right?
Yes, yes,
Right.
absolutely. And so the other thing is that it has came out that there's possibly a female as well
Yes.
with him per these eyewitnesses. I'm gonna play the clip real quick.
To get from that little part over here was way longer than it should have been. So I wondered if the girl had given him stuff, like if there is an accomplice. Sorry, you're filming.
And it said right here, that picture from Sam's across the street, he was right here.
Yep.
If you notice, she said, "Sorry, you're filming." That makes me believe. Why would you be scared to say that on film, unless you were told not to say it? Maybe they told the feds. Feds say don't say it. Odd.
Yeah.
I have a theory I'm going to go into in a moment, but maybe I'll go into it now. So I think what we are seeing, I don't think Tyler Robinson is completely innocent to this. I don't believe Tyler Robinson had a Mauser. I don't think he had a weapon at all.
No.
I think he was probably there on site somewhere. I think there were probably not just him, but multiple people told to be there. George Zinn was probably part of it too. And they had some kind of group that was wiped as well, talking about this, even beforehand.
Oh, yeah, because the Discord said that there was no group or something. And
no group, yeah. But I think it was in another, it wasn't Discord, it was something else, like some other gamer.
Oh, and also just a quick thing. Quite a few of the neighbors said that in the weeks leading up, there was like lots of cars in the neighborhood and just weird cars they didn't recognize.
Tags going to Lance Twiggs and Tyler Robinson's duplex.
Yeah.
Different ones. So that makes me believe when you hear about like flash mob, like that was very popular before, where people would all mob a certain place at a certain time. I think that's what happened here. And maybe George Zinn also told to say he did it because there was another guy, and I showed this weeks ago, so I'm not going to show the footage again. But he was arrested the block over because he said he had done it too. They had him in handcuffs on the street.
So it's like that whole thing at the end of that movie with Pierce Brosnan. That was a remake where they're all wearing the with the great song.
Yep.
They're all wearing the Apple thing.
A huge diversion. And so turns out that Tyler Robinson winds up being the patsy. Now, because he knows he's in on it, he knows he's innocent because he's pleading not guilty, he's going to go towards trial. And now we see prosecution is in an extremely weak spot.
Yeah.
So the real guy getting away with it. The real guy was probably not on that, even on that side. But to have a guy jumping off of a roof of a building, you're going to immediately be like, okay, if the feds are looking for somebody, that's the guy.
Yeah.
Then they leapfrog that guy on camera. Comes out to be no one because they didn't know until the following day that when Tyler Robinson's neighbor came over, because apparently his parents said they don't believe Tyler did it, said that the neighbor's the one who coerced them into turning Tyler Robinson after they seen the photo, after the neighbor saw the photo of the stairwell.
Right.
So to me, it seems to be like a group orchestrated. Maybe they don't even know each other. None of the participants know each other. That gives a lot of deniability.
Yeah.
And the real shooter was on an airplane that wound up getting the transponder cut off.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
and wasn't there another guy, that guy that was like, woo, or something like that in the picture?
Yeah, that guy too. That was cheering.
But that's what I think. It's like all a bunch of diversions to just make us so confused that we just don't want to deal with it anymore. Because like the thing is, like, I mean, they've like, okay, so as I've been doing my research, like I've learned a lot about, like, a lot in terms of I mentioned the CIA ties and all that kind of stuff, the Latter-day Saints ties, because Tyler Robinson's Latter-day Saints, pretty much everyone in this whole scenario is Latter-day Saints, like the professors at the universities that I was talking about,
But I was actually very unaware of this until you told me a few days ago. And I talked to my contact, and you're correct. Latter-day Saints, there's a surplus of them in the agency. I had no idea. I never knew that.
it's Latter-day Saints is about like what 2% of the American population, right? But in the agencies, the FBI, CIA, NSA particularly, they represent about like 10 to 20% of the agency.
Yeah, there's a
And I'll
large.
tell you, it's in a way you have to kind of go back in time, and I'll just tell you really quickly. But Joseph Smith, right, was like the first guy that brought someone to Jerusalem. He told this Jewish person to go to Jerusalem. Sorry, to go to what is now Israel back in like the 1800s. And the whole idea was they were going to build a nest for the Jews to return, because when the Jews return, then Jesus would come back, right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of the idea. And then like in the early 1900s, I saw this article that Winston Churchill wrote about the Zionist movement and everything. And for me, it's not about Judaism. To me, the Zionist movement is a CIA operation, essentially. It's a British.
Well,
It
yeah,
was
because
British
the
intelligence.
nation state of Israel, I think, came to fruition in 1948. 1947, the CIA came into fruition, because before that was the Office of Strategic Services, which was pretty much solely paramilitary operations.
Yeah.
And then the Mossad came right after the nation state was made. So that is true.
And
That
they've
pipe,
been like all like this since like
and that's when
it's-
they've been kind of all intertwined, and they work together
oh
constantly.
yeah. I mean,
So
it's very well known that they work together. Like
yeah,
they have there's a strategic alliance, and also Mossad is involved in the NSA stuff. Like, and also, so the other interesting thing is that so this agenda, and you can actually, I've spoken to like some Mormons messaged me to defend the Mormon faith, whatever, and which I'm not. I mean, I'm sure they're amazing Mormons. I'm not saying anything about that. I mean, but like they all believe that there is this nest that they have to create for the Jews. And it's kind of like, does the ends justify the means? Like, to what ends do you go to create this little like nest, right? So,
yeah. I don't know too much about their faith, but I do know that they are very tight, and kind of essentially a very tight knit community. And anytime you look at that, one other thing that I would like to kind of just throw in there, because they're very much involved in the agencies and Central Intelligence Agency at that too, but it's probably because they're very disciplined people. Very disciplined people are probably a lot easier to program, per se.
yeah,
The other interesting fact that I found out is that within the agency, as well as, and when you're talking about the paramilitary spectrum of it, is they use lots of Marines. Now, this is the tip of the spear in the CIA, the Special Activities Division, but they use a lot of Marines. They have SEALs and Green Berets, but they use a lot of Marines. And
were you a Marine?
yes, and so the Marines are a ton of Marines in this group. And so I was asking my buddy who served in there about that, and he and I read an article about it too, but it made me think, because Marines are very programmed, very very disciplined. I think to an even extreme part. And when you look at like what just happened the other weekend, two Marines, 40 years old, both served in Iraq,
Yeah.
went and committed acts of violence. Lee Harvey Oswald, Marine,
Yeah.
the guy that was on the first active shooter on the
Mhm.
Texas, I think Texas State University, is it in Austin? Is that where it was?
Yeah.
The first shooter, he got up on the top of the bell tower, Marine. So it makes me think that these profiles are what they're looking for, people that can be
Right.
uh,
Molded.
programmed. And that's just a theory of mine. It could be absolutely nothing and very far from it, but
Right.
it seems to be that would be a huge connection.
Well, it's interesting because that guy that crashed into the Mormon church recently,
Marine.
he is a Marine from Iraq War era, and he lived in Utah. His wife was LDS.
But there was another
or his
connection with
ex-wife was
him, right?
LDS rather.
There was another connection with him, or no? He
Yeah, yeah,
had,
yeah. So he, well, well, it's interesting because basically, I think so. I've had this whistleblower. Okay, sorry. Just let me just. I've had two sources that have contacted me separately, right? And they've had very similar. There's some very similar commonalities with what they've been saying, and I do really believe what they've said. But essentially, I was beating my head against. I was against a door because I was looking at Matt Barrett at the Utah State University, and I was like, and he also works for the Space Lab Dynamics Laboratory, and I was like, what is the like? What's in there? I don't know. It's just very like something about that was really really intriguing to me, because Space Lab Dynamics does recruit pre-engineering students like Tyler, right? So I was like, what is it? And all of a sudden, like as if reading my mind, this girl messages me and has a picture of her and her father in front of the Space Lab Dynamics like office, right? And essentially, we had a conversation, and she said that since she was a child, since she was like really little, she was part of this program, like an MK Ultra program, which this was long after the MK Ultra program was
yeah, it was
supposedly
probably labeled
disbanded.
something else.
It was
Yeah.
labeled something else. Yeah, it was like a family psychology program under these two men called Jessen and James Mitchell and Jessen. I can't remember his last name, but they're very famous. Like they were the ones that were under, during the Iraq War. They did the waterboarding and everything. They were the ones that were in trouble for everything that came out. They also
The interrogation
and
techniques.
interrogation techniques, yeah, yeah. So they were really in bad trouble for that. And then there was a movie about it. There was a Vanity Fair about it. And supposedly she said that John Carrick, who is the whistleblower that's been going on Tucker Carlson, that
Yep,
he
yep.
was on the team as well with her father. And that the
Wow.
mission was they were programming the dad to be like, you've got to go over there to get the bad guys, and then you'll go into the next level of some religious thing that he believes or the Mormons believe or whatever, right? And they trained him, and the dad had been programmed according to her from a very young age, like abused, broken down, and then manipulated to become this person. And I mean, I don't know. She kind of alluded to the fact that they were also responsible for 9/11 basically. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say that obviously, like in case but like and it's not like it's just one person's theory, what she said, but I mean, if it turns out that this is true, then it would be a rabbit hole to go down, at least asking John Kirko if what she
Well,
says is true.
George Zinn was at
Yeah.
9/11 too.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah, he was at 9/11. I mean, it,
just,
it all has the same, like, and this is something very interesting. Around just after World War II, there was this thing called Project Paperclip,
yep.
which was
All the
basically
Nazis.
all the Nazis. They brought all the Nazi scientists and space engineers and stuff over to America, and they didn't just go to NASA and California. They went to Utah. They went to other states, and a lot of them ended up congregating back in Utah to get other work. A lot of the German women married LDS men, Latter Day Saints men, and the Germans were taking over a lot of the jobs in and bringing their interrogation techniques, the same interrogation techniques that they were using in 9/11. And my other whistleblower said she was part of Project Monarch, and that she was essentially as a child, like a lot of the stuff they did with the terrorists and stuff, like were experimented with her and other children. And she was saying that, I mean, I literally was like, that conversation was one of the most intense conversations I've ever had, which is why I don't feel like she was lying. I mean, both of these conversations were intense. I've got them on tape, but um she was saying that she was one of triplets, and the other girl had twin brothers, and the twin triplet thing, you know what I mean, has
Yeah,
the Nazis used to use triplets
I've
and
heard
twins to
that about.
experiment on Mengels,
Yeah,
or.
I've heard about those guys using them. I'd read about it before, because
And
the similarities and things like that.
my source also tells me, because I think it's just if you want my personal opinion on what happened, I think the Latter Day Saints, whatever is this disgusting kind of like symbiotic relationship between government, CIA, university systems, or whatever in Utah, Arizona, that whole area, potential with Washington's blessing. I think they have like run things for a long time. I think a lot of the stuff we see today, because I found money funnels going to Ukraine. I think the Ukraine war, Putin talks about
Well,
Nazis in Ukraine. And I was always like, there's something to that. What is he saying? Like, I don't want to just dismiss it outright. And now I understand what he's saying. Like these legitimate Nazis that came from Germany, Project Paperclip, I think have been running things basically for like,
it's very possible. It's very possible. And the other unique piece to this is Tyler Robinson, apparently his uncle, fought in Ukraine. In recent years. So he went over there to serve is what they're saying online. Again, I don't know. A lot of this is speculation, but whenever you have such inconsistencies, speculation is going to happen. Now, I want to touch back on Tyler Robinson. The following day, he appears at a gas station. Okay, this is on September 11th, 7:17 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
He was at Maverick gas station in Cedar City, Utah. It's about 212 miles from UVU and 3-hour drive from campus.
Right.
He's seen in the same outfit that he was at Dairy Queen. Now, same car.
Dairy Queen was that day as what was the exact time of the day?
It was like 6:30 p.m.
Okay.
on September 10th. So same car. But again, obviously he's wearing the same clothing, driving the same car. I feel like the stature is a little bit different, but they're saying that this is him. So, and this footage just came out about a few hours ago. And I think what we're going to see as time goes on, you're going to see more and more footage popping out and more things popping out. So, I really just wanted to kind of get this type of information out and kind of get your, you've been digging into this a lot with a lot of people that are connected to that area. I don't really, I've been to Utah like once or twice in my life, so I don't know much about the area, but you've had a few people come to you giving you a lot of information. And so I would say if you want to find out more, go check out her Instagram profile. She's got Substacks and everything like that.
Yeah. And because I think, like we've been dealing with a lot of weird stuff. Well, I mean, going back to JFK, right? Hinckley, right? Hinckley with Reagan, like he was friends with okay, so Matt Barrett and Rusty Needs. Rusty Needs is the professor at Utah Valley University. Matt Barrett is at Utah State University. Both of them went to University of Utah, where the prophet that died just recently went, who was in Skull and Bones, which is what George Bush was in as well. Yep. So they died. So he died, but they went to University of Utah. They then go on to work under George Bush. And in fact, Matt Barrett was Cheney's intelligence briefer on all the WMD stuff during Iraq, all the fake intel. Sorry?
All the lies.
All the lies. That was the intel was by Matt Barrett, and so for Cheney, and then so they were all around that time with George Bush. Let's not forget also also working around that time was Comey and Brennan and Clapper and John Bolton, all these guys, right? And George Bush was also very close to the Latter-day Saints prophets, and let's not forget that George Hinckley Sr. and George Bush Sr. knew each other very well. And right after Hinckley he went to the same hospital where they did a lot of the MK Ultra experiments. Like there's all these things that are like starting to add up because we're like, this was weird and this was weird and this was weird and this was weird. And what if you find out it's like the same group of guys? And if we could find that out, then maybe the world could be Ukraine, stuff that's going on in Israel, all the aid and stuff like that, like what if it all boils down to these few deep state players, in Washington.
Of course, and the military industrial complex is all tied in this as well because they want war. They don't make profit if there's not war somewhere in the world. And that's why you've seen for the past 40 years, there's been constant war There's
Yeah.
war everywhere constantly. There's
Yeah.
never
And
been
also
a,
having Russia as a bad guy, like the narrative of Russia, bad, 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 like constant.
oh yeah,
That drives a lot of like the narrative of why we need a big military budget and all this kind of stuff. If
yep.
that didn't go away, if Russia and America were just chummy,
They need the boogeyman, like
yeah,
China,
yeah,
Russia, and
China,
I'm
Russia,
not saying they're not the boogeyman, but they need the boogeyman. They tell them, the American populace, that these people want to take us out, and I mean, it could be, I don't know,
yeah,
but they need the boogeyman because and that's why they need to keep pumping money in.
yeah,
And the best thing that happened to the military industrial complex was the war on terror.
yeah,
The amount of money we spent there. The war in Ukraine is almost at that budget now, and they're
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
blowing through money. And even Trump, who said he would end the war day one, we're
Hasn't.
still in it. We're
Yeah.
still in it. We're still funding it, and we're giving
And
them.
then there's the undercurrent of everyone talking about child trafficking and Epstein and stuff. And like, I mean, this woman that talked to me was saying that the LDS church is like one is the main trafficking, like drug trafficking, child trafficking. I mean, I'm not gonna like this is what somebody else said, but and she was saying exactly how they do it with cattle and stuff like that. Like I don't know, it's dark. I mean, I know Tim Ballard is going into that whole thing. He is at LDS, but I think he's had a falling out with them, and now he's trying to figure out what's going on with the where these children all are and stuff. I mean, it's really dark. It's really dark. And if we could shine light on it, that's my objective. Like, this could be the hornet's nest that like gets everything out into the open.
Well, one thing I do know is that people are easily controlled by religions. Is to this, since the beginning of man, that's what they do,
Yeah.
and it's not, not far off. But I think there's so many pieces to this, but at the same time, we keep coming back to certain things, and whenever there's smoke, there's always fire. And
Yeah.
so I just,
And and eventually they start making mistakes, especially with the internet. And,
yeah,
it's not like JFK, you see one video footage and that's it. Now everyone's got cell phones and stuff. Like,
yeah, you can't get away with it
you
now,
can't get
and
away with
I
it.
think
No.
more footage of this will emerge, and
Yeah.
and obviously they pretty much shut it down. Like,
They want it to go away.
they want it to go away. That's
Yeah.
why I think Venezuela will be the next big thing. I think within the next 2 weeks, we'll probably have some kind of serious military intervention there
Yeah.
to
Oh, well,
people
what
some.
about Nepal? They think Nepal was a deep state operation because I
Yeah,
think Sri
yeah.
Lanka and Bangladesh have been deep state operations. And the other thing is, they, yeah, I mean, they basically like there's a few unanswered. So I think the fact is, I think the Jeffrey Epstein thing is the real kicker because Jeffrey Epstein is the first time when Trump said, "Why is everyone still talking about that?" Where we're just like, "No, no, 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 no. We're not letting this shit go anymore. We've let it
Yep.
go for too long. For you to just drop stuff on us and then just let it go as if it never happened. So this is not being let go of. That's not being let go of. I know I'm not letting go of it. I don't think Candace Owens is letting go of it. I know you're not letting go of it. Like it's gonna be figured out. And the other thing is, yeah, so that, and I'm not scared. Like, I've had a woman from Brigham Young University I've got her LinkedIn and everything. She was trying to tap into my Dropbox, get access to it all. Like,
Mhm.
it's really freaky, but like, I'm just not scared. I don't care about these people. Like, they're creeps, as
Yeah,
I'm concerned.
yeah.
And, and the other thing
That's
is like, there's always these questions like, and it always goes back to like, I do a lot of deep diving on Russiagate, right? And there's like this Yevgeny Prigozhin, the character, the guy that ran the IRA stuff, like the social media campaign.
mhm.
I think he did it in a way. I think he was a double agent, right? And I think the main reason he was doing it was because I think they wanted to flood things with Russia so that if any of Hillary Clinton's emails came out, they could always say, "Oh, it's Russian misinformation."
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? So, and there's so much evidence that I found, so much like things that shows me that he probably was a double agent. And then after he died, it got leaked that some guys went into his bank accounts to snoop around. They paid a hacker, and they were two Israeli Mossad agents that did that. And then with the Trump thing with Crooks, Thomas Crooks, it came out that there was this like GPS ping, like they wanted to look at how many pings were around his house. Did you see that?
Yeah, the FBI
The
headquarters.
FBI ping. So it was like his house, it was like 7 pings in a year, which says it's a burner phone, right? And that burner phone went to his house, his place of work, and the FBI headquarters. But
Yep.
like, they won't give
And
us
the
an answer
range that
about
he
that.
trained at. So
So
it hit his house, his place of work, the nursing home, and a local range in the FBI head
yeah, and they're like,
local office there. So ding, 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 and it was just that, and so it was
but then it
somehow,
gets dropped. We're not supposed to
yeah,
talk about it. We're not
yeah.
supposed to look into it more, you know?
But that's how this has become with
Yeah.
everything with Epstein. The next whatever the next big event is to just try to shut this down. A
Yeah.
lot of people's not letting this go. I think it's going to hurt during midterms, and I think it's
Well, I
really
think the
just
government has become illegitimate to me.
yeah.
Like, especially if Cash Patel's not going to give us answers that we seek about this case, the government's shut down as it is. I think it's illegitimate now,
Well,
right? We're all
it's
going
like
to have
Cash
our
Patel. Yeah. The Cash Patel the other
tinfoil
day,
hats.
he basically took up for the FBI on January 6th, even though there were like 274 undercover agents there. He said that they came after the rioting started. Well, why do they to stop the rioting? Why do they come undercover then? Why do they
Yeah,
not come as uniform so that way
yeah, they were
you
plainclothes.
full force and shut it down? You don't
Yeah,
come in there
you wouldn't
undercover.
come with plain clothes. Like, it's
No,
crazy. No,
it's crazy.
crazy. Well, we're all going to get our tin hats out
Yeah,
and own it.
yeah, that's right. Well, Pia, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and definitely
Yeah,
go
I
check
love
her
it.
out. She's got a ton of information. I follow her on Instagram. She's got a ton of information. A lot of people reference her also on social media as well. I think Ian Carroll just had you on his show the other day, right? Like
Yeah,
showing
yeah. And actually,
your
Wall
stuff.
Street Apes just posted
Yeah,
something, I think.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So
I don't know, slowly but surely.
she's making some moves in the game. So go give her a follow. And thanks again,
Thank
Pia.
you. I really appreciate, yeah, you having me on. This was great. We'll figure it out one way or
That's right.
another.
That's right. You'll come back on too. We'll dig into this some more. Anyway, guys, we're going to stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous. Take care.